What's up guys, it's Chase here from Renderite. Thanks for tuning in to part 2 of our 3-part tutorial series. Today we're bringing Mt Maunganui to life in Twinmotion. If you missed part 1, we explored Mt Maunganui and gathered some awesome reference images. Make sure to check that out now in the video above. Now let's dive into Twinmotion and make a start. Let's go.
So let's start by going over the reference images we collected. We'll select the best ones that capture the key features of Mt Maunganui. So we're just going to go on to my YouTube video. I had a bit of an oopsie where I kind of lost all the videos after I made the last YouTube video. I kind of lost all my videos, so I'm not able to go back through those and select any reference images. So I'm just going to have to go through my YouTube video that I made for part 1, and we're just going to have to go through there and collect some key points of Mt Maunganui. So we're just going to do that quickly. I've already got it up here, my YouTube video. So I'm just going to click play. I'm going to mute it here. And just going to scroll through here. We're just going to go to the base of the mount where we can see some of the beach. So for example, we'll grab maybe this image. So I'm just going to bring up screen or snipping tool. I'm just going to take a screenshot of that. And I'm just going to save that. So I'm just going to close that, and we're just going to continue going through here. Just finding some specific images from around the mount that capture showers and rocks and plants, vegetation, all that type of stuff. So I'm just going to save that in here. There's 2. I'm going to keep going through. I wanted to capture this flax here. Just going to grab another screenshot. So I'm just going to go through and collect some more screenshots. So now that we have all of our references, we are going to move on to get the terrain data from Open Topography. Next we need accurate terrain data. We'll grab the digital elevation model from Open Topography. Let's start by going to opentopography.org. Once you're here, you are going to go to Data, find Data Map. Once you've done that, I am just going to search for my location, which is, I know exactly where it is, which is right here. So once you've found your location, you are going to select a region. So just over in the left hand corner, you're going to select a region, click that, and then you have this little cursor. So I'm just going to click and drag a box over what I want. It's going to say I want that, a little bit of Matakana over there. And then I'm just looking for the most up-to-date one, which will be here, and I'm going to select point cloud. So I select point cloud, and then I scroll down, just leave all of this information here, don't touch that. And then we're just going to go to the grid resolution. So currently it's set to 1 meter. We're going to change that to 0.5 just so that the data is a little bit more accurate. I don't know if you can. Oh yeah, 0.5. So you can't do 0.5, you have to do 0.5. So once we have that set, we're going to scroll down and then we're going to select job title and we're just going to name it Mount, job description Mount, and then I'm just going to put my email address. And then click submit at the bottom here. So now that we're just going to wait for our digital elevation model to generate, once that's finished, we'll jump back into it and I'll show you what to do next. So now that our dim has finished generating, you can see the number of points and how long it took to generate, which was 102 seconds. So we've got point cloud results here and dim results. So we're just going to download the dim results. Just going to download that. In the meantime, we are going to go to Google and just type in VT Builder. And then we're just going to click on the first one that comes up. Once that is open, it will have a page that looks like this. You can just scroll down to where it says program and source code, and then just scroll along here to where it says you can download a Windows installer for the standalone app VT Builder here. So 8.7 megabytes, we're just going to download that and install it. I have already done that, so I'm not going to go through that process again, but if you need help installing it, just let me know in the comments below. So we're just going to move on now. So I've got VT Builder here. I'm just going to open that one. Just going to drag that out like that. It's going to go to my downloads here. Open that. Copy that into YouTube. I'm just going to paste it in here. So I have my output of the Mt Maunganui here. Just going to minimize that, open that one up, and I'm just going to click and drag it onto the grey space in the back here. And now you can see that there's quite a lot of detail in here, which is pretty cool, pretty cool. So once we have done that, we're going to go up to elevation, export to, and then we're just going to scroll down until we find TerraGen. So we're just going to click on that and go OK. And then I'm just going to save it into the same folder. Just going to call it Mount and then save. Successfully wrote file, click OK. Now we're going to go back to Google, and then we're going to click search world machine, open world machine. We're going to download world machine. I've already done that as well, so just click free download. It will download to your downloads folder and then just install. If you have any issues, just mention it in the comment section and I can give you a hand. But anyway, we're going to go to world machine basic. So there are limitations with the basic version, but that's perfectly fine. So now that we have world machine open, we're just gonna delete these. We're gonna go to generator, click on file input, place, double click the little file name folder, select the TerraGen file, click open, close. Then we're going to go to filter, we're going to select clamp, place the clamp, we're going to drag this node into the clamp, we're going to double click on the clamp, we're going to click find extents, because currently if we go to our 3D view, it's flat. So we're going to click find extents, and then we're just going to play with this bar a little bit here. Until it looks right. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. Something like that. That looks right. Cool. Then let's put it up a little bit more. Cool. Then we're going to click close. We're going to go back to our nodes. Then we are going to go output and select height output, place. Then we're going to drag this node into the height output, double click. Then we are going to find, we're just going to keep it at PNG 16-bit for now. Then we are going to save it into a folder. So I'm just going to save it back into my folder here. Mount. Make sure it's selected on PNG. I'm just going to select save. And then you click write to disk. And then it's file written successfully. We're going to click close. And then we're just going to minimize this. And now we can open Twinmotion. So we're just going to go to our Epic Games launcher down here. It's going to launch Twinmotion 2024.1. So now that we have Twinmotion open, we can start by importing our height map of Mt Maunganui. So I'm just going to delete the starting base here. And for this tutorial, I can probably delete the starting ground and starting landscape as well. So there's nothing here. So we're going to go to import. Make sure landscape is selected. We're going to click open. We're going to go to our YouTube folder and this one here, mount exported. So I was playing around with the largest dimension and amplitude and smoothing, so it's a bit of trial and error. I already had my settings set up from the last time. So here is my mount. This is supposed to be, I'm guessing, Matakana over here. But see how we have all these little jagged bits right here? We're just going to smooth those out. So we're going to start by just clicking on here and we're going to go to smooth. It's going to increase the diameter. And maybe not too intense, just lower the intensity. It's going to go around the whole of the mountain and do this. We know that this is Matakana, so first things first, I'm just going to put some vegetation on there just to block that out. Just going to place, and we're going to paint. We're going to go to trees and we're just going to find just some type of pine kind of tree or something. Doesn't have to be exact. So I'll just grab those and select paint. Just increase my diameter. And drag my density up. And I'll increase the age as well. So over here is where you can actually see Matakana, which is there. So we're going to place an ocean in here just to see where the ocean will be. Click on ambience and then we're going to go to environment. Let's go all the way down to the bottom and we've got ocean. So it's going to enable that. Just lower the height. Oh. Something like that. See the height there? You can actually see the ocean where it would come in. Obviously there wouldn't be ocean all the way over here and stuff, but we're just creating an image that's purely on this side and maybe a couple around this side or the other side, but we'll see. So I have Matakana over here Obviously Matakana is actually a long island that runs all the way along here, so just for this task I'm gonna just place a plane probably. Okay, so now that we have our ocean placed, you can kind of see the ground through the ocean a bit, so I'm just gonna go on here and we're gonna lower, just lower it a bit here. I'm just gonna place a few trees quickly. Maybe a couple of these, just along where these little dots are. Actually, I'll just use a spline. So I'm just going to use the spacing tool and I'm going to go like this. I'm going to place my tree in the spacing tool. See, much faster. And you can tighten or loosen the path tension. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Increase the, no, that's too many. Yep, there we go. If you select the asset here, you can adjust the settings of the asset. So I'm just going to increase the age and probably the rotation with random rotation. Yep. And then there's a few on the other side as well. So I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. Like, just imagine we're walking. Maybe I think I might need to lower the ocean just a little bit here. Maybe. There we go. Cool. That's looking better. I'm just gonna paint. Just gonna look for some sand. So now that I have the sand up, I'm just gonna place a desert sand, probably where the gravel is. Just increase the diameter, and we're just gonna paint some sand in here. And I don't know, I might even just search just some oh, I could try and bring in the OpenStreetMap just to have some blockouts of the building. So I'll just see how we go with that. Maybe I could have a look. So we just go down to populate and select urban, and then you've got like this little box area here. We're just gonna search Mt Maunganui. Just wait for that to load. There we go. And then click download and place. It might take a minute for it to download. There we go. So obviously I can select all this and just scale this down. See, and then we've got all the buildings where they should be and roads. Even if we just pull it up on top a bit like that, and then even so I'm lining it up by these little bits over here. See when I move it. So something like that's okay. It even brings in the trees and bushes kind of where they're supposed to be as well, which is quite cool. But I can delete the ground now. I could probably lower it actually just a little bit more. And then I might actually go through with the landscape tool and flatten. So there's one here called flatten. And then I just look for a flat part where the road is, and we'll flatten it out. That's actually the lifeguard tower from my first video. So you can start to see it shapes up quite nicely now. Okay, now that's looking good. We're gonna move on to starting to set up a scene now. So it's gonna look for some assets to download. We've got some beach rock, grasses, some trees, shells, driftwood, some flax and stuff like that. Some leaf decals. So we're just gonna go to here and we're gonna look up 3D assets, go nature, rock, beach. So we have all these different types of beach rock formations and beach boulder, coast African beach. But we'll just do what we can. So I like this image. I really like this one, how I can just see the beach in the background, the water, and the trees towering over. So we are going to create that. If you guys haven't before, you can download PureRef. I don't know if you've used it, but I'm going to open that. It's going to go to my image here, and then I'm just going to drag it in here. And then I can close that. So image ref, you've always got your image overlaid on top as a reference image, which is quite cool. So, you know, you can just put it down here, but instead of having to go back and forth between folders or keep opening your image, it's overlaid here, and you can unpin it as well, which is quite cool. So we've got our trees, water, little path here for the hillside and some more vegetation. We'll just try and find where that kind of area will be, which kinda seems like it would be here. So we're just gonna sculpt, and it's gonna flatten. Cool, and then we can place some rock down here. The water runs in along here. We can place some trees along here. So it's going to set up an image now actually. Like so. Maybe up just a little bit like that. And then now, just for reference, we're just going to place. So let's go materials, ground, and then nature. Even something like this, sand with seashell or something. Just to create our path, just so we can visualize it. Start by placing some trees on the right hand side here. So I like my Indian sandalwood. I don't have any oceanic trees in Twinmotion at the moment, so I'm just going to have to make do with what I have. Once we get into UnrealEngine, I've actually been given a few trees for this video, for the UnrealEngine part, which were given to me by Max Trees. So in the UnrealEngine part of this video, you'll see how I've put together the Max Trees, vegetation, and the use of those. So we're just going to make do with the Twinmotion trees for now for this part of the part 2 tutorial series. So I'm just going to place an Indian sandalwood. It's kind of similar. So you can use vegetation a lot to block things out, backgrounds, stuff like that. Right now I'm just using it to kind of cover some of this hillside up here, like that. See, and then we'll place probably some. For this task, I'm only going to use the Twinmotion library of vegetation because it's still alright. And then for like such a big scene, I don't have to use high quality plants. So if you hold control and then select all of those, then you can place. We'll cover some of this with rocks, stuff like that. So we'll just refresh that. Always something you do when you start a project is that, you know, if you're going this great on something, save your bloody work. Alright? Save your work. And also set up autosaves as well, because I've lost a lot of work by not setting up autosaves. So I don't want you to repeat that same process. So now I'm going to place some Megascans rocks in here. We're going to go to 3D assets under Megascans. We're going to go to nature, and then we're going to select rock. Maybe, you know, just download that one. beach boulder. Just download a few. And then just start placing them in. We'll add a little bit of height fog for sea spray in the background. It would be making such a difference if I was using the right kind of trees for this. If you would like to see me utilize max trees in my next video, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned, as we'll be utilizing max trees in UnrealEngine. I'm just going to go to Mega Scans, 3D plants, and then I'm going to look for the big leaf hydrangea, and it's going to look for the leaf here. Just going to put some of these leaves on the ground. It would be cool if the branches were coming up like that a bit more. But like I mentioned earlier, Max Trees has provided me with all the trees for around the mount. So I'll show you guys how to set that up in the Unreal Engine Part 3 side of things. So what we have here is probably decent enough. We've got our path with our slope and vegetation, our water on this right hand side with the trees in the background. So it's looking pretty good. I'm just going to start setting up some rendering settings now. So if we go into our local exposure, I'm going to drag the highlight reduction all the way down, reduce the shadow boost. I'm going to go to effects 60 and then 40, 45. I just want to see what it looks like with the line light render camera. Increase the sharpness. Turn on parallelism. So now we go to render and enhance our settings. So I'm just going to turn the samples up to 98. Turn the bounces up to 20. Denoiser off, and then fireflies on 5. Okay, so I need Lumen won't be enabled, so I have to put it on to Ultra for it to be enabled. So I'm going to try and export the Datasmith for this. I haven't done it before with landscape and all that other stuff, so we'll give it a go. If it doesn't work, we're just going to recreate the scene, but in Unreal Engine because the process is different, and then I can show you how to use Dash and Max Trees, so we'll do it that way. So I'm just going to go to my Epic Games launcher. Let's go to library, and then we're just going to launch. So I've got to create a project first before exporting into Unreal Engine. So now that we have Unreal Engine loaded, we're going to go to Games, Third Person, and turn Ray Tracing on. It's going to call this Mt Maunganui. I've already tried this before, so I'm just going to do 1. It's going to create. So once you have your project created, we're going to go back to Twinmotion. It's going to select File, Export Datasmith File, Standard. Then you're going to want to navigate to your UE project. So here I have Mt Maunganui 1. Just going to open that. And I'm just going to call this Mt Maunganui 1. Save. So now it is exporting our Datasmith file to our Unreal Engine project. Once that is done, we'll move on to the next step. So now that we have exported our Datasmith file, we're going to close that, and then we're just going to export our video and image. So we'll just go export. We can close our reference now. So I'll start off by rendering my image. My refinement is on high, and start export. I'm just going to render it into my folder here and export. Once this is done, we will have a look at my image and we'll move on from there. Thanks for following along as I created the scene in Twinmotion using Path Tracer for that extra level of realism. If you're ready to see how we push the limits of this render even more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.
Thanks for watching, everyone. That wraps up part 2. In the next video, we'll take the scene into UnrealEngine and add some finishing touches. If that doesn't work out, we'll completely redo the scene in UnrealEngine from start to finish, showing you how to utilize the Dash plugin and importing max trees. So stay tuned, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Cheers.